Greetings and bienvenue, MITZU. Thank you for returning to this broadcast, and welcome to new viewers joining us for the first time. If you like a video, then feel free to subscribe.
Teletubbies' Lemurian connection and sun worship. Lemurians were highly evolved beings with great telepathic ability. They had access to limitless life force energy and could manifest and heal almost anything. They were multi-dimensional beings and could move between worlds or overlaying dimensions at will, including backwards and forward in time. To them, all time was happening simultaneously, and they had direct access to the Akash, a living library where everything that ever was and ever would be could be accessed. Lemurians were familiar with portals and traversed dimensions to gain information and share wisdom. They were deeply connected with other planets, aware of the balance and interconnectedness of all the activity that happens in the macro-micro universe. Often inhabiting the abyss in the spaces between perceivable matter, their particles and physical densities could transform as they chose. The way in which they could move through time and space means they also have access to this very moment, and their wisdom is gifted to us as we raise our vibrations to meet theirs. As they could create anything at will, scarcity was not a factor in their reality. The natural land they lived in flourished, and they didn't need to grasp or hold on to anything. Having immediate access to whatever they desired meant the need to own anything did not develop. They lived close to the incredible land and spent much of their time recharging their energetic resources by immersing themselves in the blissful emanations of nature. They appeared tribal and were scantily clad as their body temperature was perfectly attuned to that of their environment, and there was no shame in nudity. Talismans adorned their body, as beautiful art was a way of containing significant information. They were shapeshifters and could disappear and reappear as they chose or as they moved through different dimensions. They held a deep connection and familiarity with crystals and worked with vibration to bridge spiritual and physical realms. As the Teletubbies traversed to the hilltop underneath the informing instruction of the sun, one among them is elected as that which will receive a telepathic signal of wisdom through its antenna, to materialize in its vision via its biologically integrated screen. This source of wisdom will be presented by the elected Teletubby to the rest of its tribe, a dosage of psychic knowledge dispensed from the light-bearer then induced into the tribe at large. The original Lemurians captured similar signals and dealt their payload of knowledge onto the physical world, constructing the grounds of all civilization. Their blood confirmed as that which can construct granted the advice of divinity. The set of the Teletubbies was constantly flooded by rabbits, those rapidly reproducing through the constant regenerative force. The Teletubbies worship a pinwheel, following the sun iconography in their daily venerations. I am troubling you with this letter both to elicit information and to express certain concerns. Hopefully it will be evident that it is written with the very greatest respect, from one long-schooled in the arcane sciences to another. Having carefully studied your popular children's television show Teletubbies for many years, I am confident I have gained a basic mastery of its essential content. Please forgive me if I suggest this understanding was acquired with greater ease than is altogether healthy or compatible with appropriate hermetic prudence on your part. To be frank, the Teletubbies wear their occult pedigree on their furry jumpsuits, their direct derivation from the 5 diplo-demons of Sumatran time sorcery being starkly apparent to any but the most vegetative ignoramus. Thus, the obvious question arises, what happened to the 5th Teletubby? Please understand that I am not questioning the necessity of this excision. It goes without saying that the supervisory authorities, of which I trust no more need be said, would have demanded it if an elementary instinct for self-preservation had not already done so. Only a lunatic would fight for the right to spread pentazagonic Lemurianism among the world's infants. So my uttermost discretion can, of course, be assumed. Nevertheless, my question remains. While theories and speculations on the topic of the missing 5th are abundant in the relevant literature, where Nu, the baby son, even the infant viewer have been proposed, these can all, in my humble opinion, be dismissed as groundless. The missing 5th must, for obvious reasons of arcane science, be of the same supergeneric type as its 4 similar cons, with appropriate discriminative name, height, intonation, color coding, antenna form, and magical weapon. At the risk of self-contradiction, I must now append my warning to this request. While frustrated by the inaccessibility of the information specified above, I am also alarmed by the denuded hermeticism characterizing your show. Although we initiates of the arcane circle have long understood that the future of religion on this planet approximates far more closely to the Teletubbies than to any existing organized faith, is it entirely wise to pronounce this truth so baldly to an ill-educated public? Such things have been occulted for a reason, I am sure you would agree. Was it really necessary, for example, to so exactly portray the hideous ecstasies of the Tog Murtha ritual? A glistening vortex activates and the beings moan. Uh-oh. Their eyes droop with bliss and they fall on their backs in techno-cosmic delirium. After the big hug, is no blasphemy to be hidden from the world's toddlers. They clamber up a hill and stand in the loose spectral formation, their antennae illuminated by the transmission and their belly monitors sparking with static from the outer spheres, as they await the chosen one. It is rare indeed for even the most determined investigators into this abominable rite to have witnessed it unflinchingly portrayed in such comprehensive and graphic detail. Even those entirely innocent of the Tog Murtha cults cannot but be struck by the sorcerous inclinations of the show, with its incantations and manifestation of objects through songs. More provocative still is the baby son who mocks God the Father, Logos, and the universe of adult authority with its inarticulate burblings and chaotic mirth. These incautious references are given a further ominous twist by the blatant Lemuro-cybergothic dimension of the Teletubby mechanoverse. Those the Chinese insightfully translate as the antenna babies, Tianqian Bao Bao, are the fully cyborgian inhabitants of a futuristic underground bunker whose parents have been replaced by a semi-intelligent autonomous vacuuming unit called Nu, combined with a complex subterrestrial acoustic apparatus. Their highly synthetic diet, produced entirely by machines, consists exclusively of tubby custard and tubby toast, a reiterated affront to the very idea of organic nourishment. Finally, allow me to draw your attention to a recent article by media commentator Douglas Frushley entitled "The Tubby Minions of Satan." In this piece, intended to warn parents against the show, he describes it as an unrelenting festival of bionic barbarism and refers explicitly to Indonesian demonism. If Frushley, who in all charity is not the sharpest pencil in the box, can be picking up so clearly on the occultism of the series, you can be confident that more sophisticated and powerful minds are tuning into it as well, with consequences scarcely to be imagined. The biggest of all, Tinky Winky's purple represents desire, and his antenna, the triangle, depicts the Holy Trinity of Christendom. It also describes various rituals and traditions of the world. It also represents the womb of a female, which is a symbol of life on Earth. The favorite and the smallest of all the red-colored Poe is widely popular. The cute little Teletubby has a circular antenna that probably represents unity, completeness, and wholeness, and it shows the spirit of Mother Earth and that of feminism. It is regarded as an auspicious sign of feminine spirit. The second largest lime green Teletubby has a rod in the form of an antenna. This symbolizes male power, and many cultures of the world deem it to be an intense depiction of masculinity. Even in Hinduism, a rod is worshipped as a form of fertility, in the form of a linga, and the Egyptians also call it an obelisk. In the Beltane rituals, the pole is called maypole, a symbol of male power. Lala, the yellow female Teletubby, has a sort of curly antenna involving a circle and a rod. This antenna represents the amalgamation of male and female power. Also, it is a symbol of the evolution of the whole universe. The antenna is an apt representation of partnership and fertility.
What does Blavatsky have to say about this?
The Teletubbies represent the recovery from the fallenness of man, the receiving of the ancient and fundamental universal wisdom, man's technology integrated to defeat his primitive form.
If the Lemurians were so advanced, wise, and knowledgeable, how did they fall? Wouldn't they have seen it coming?
This is what I've been trying to figure out too. It was something involving Atlantis, war, and the old pantheons. But this is a legit info hazards the likes of which we won't likely see. Even the average low-rank Freemason doesn't get this.
Some higher beings committed to their fall knowingly and willingly. Some could not bear seeing their brothers and sisters fight among one another, or bear being a sitting duck in the upper regions. Some went down so that they might be able to open the channels for others again. No amount of wisdom or advancement can protect you from your neighbor. That's the thing. Look at Earth. We take lots of things for granted. Collectively, we make tremendously stupid decisions. For Lemurians, it is no different. They have lots more experience because they can more easily tap into their collective history but history also doesn't prepare you for future or unknown threats. All the more, if you are very familiar with some beings and suddenly they turn around and turn sour, you won't be able to expect or imagine such situations from happening. It's like people who have a sheltered upbringing who get into a bad neighborhood. Some fell, some did not. Falling is like sharding and separating your own higher being into a myriad of other life. It's burning up your potential to cause change. At the bottom of the barrel, you'll end up looking up.
Some did and retreated their light before getting entangled into the fray. The downside was that without a strong presence in the spirit, they would slowly fade from memory. The fade from memory would protect them from harassment, since magicians and others can't exactly trace and endanger beings or things they cannot remember. This also holds for their Atlantean brothers, but the terrible side effect is that physical beings cut off from their spiritual homefront can slowly corrupt, and the nation spirit will wither with it. If some other beings then start to fill the gap, you can imagine what might happen to the collective unconscious. Hence, the mass extinction events. A large group of cohesive souls that go out can migrate and organize more easily than a scattered folk.
The Teletubbies series includes 7 possible magical events, according to the wiki, all of which feature occult symbolism. The Animal Parade is one of the 7 magical events and consists of a series of animals which march past in twos similar to Noah's Ark. It was shown in the very first episode of Ned's Bicycle, making it also the first magical event to appear. The Magic House is another of the 7 magical events. It was first shown in the 3rd episode, The Grand Old Duke of York. This magic event features a singing puppet who lives in a large pink house with 4 windows. In each episode, he wanders around his house choosing a window to sing from, with the window changing for each episode. The tap dancing teddy bear features a yellow Winnie the Pooh look-alike teddy bear who wears a Charlie Chaplin-like shirt, which almost looks like Winnie the Pooh's red shirt, purple bow tie, and black tap shoes. He taps dances in a small carousel. The magic tree features a beautiful tree which magically appears in Teletubbyland. The tree's leaves begin to grow and 5 grey birds land on it. The tree then loses its leaves, the birds fly away and the tree vanishes. It wasn't one of the most popular magical events of the program, but the beautiful music, the beautiful tree and the charm of the event made some children cry at the end of the event when the tree vanished. Some children cried and became very upset and sad as the music shifted from happy to sad, with a beautiful birth-like tune as happy, but then a sad death-like tune at the ending. The 3 ships feature 3 cruise liner-style ships, which look similar to the Queen Mary ocean liner. They sail past Teletubbyland after it fills itself with water, except the place where the Teletubbies are watching the event, turning it into an ocean. The ships then disappear at the end of the event, and the water disappears, with a plug hole sound at the end. The event first appeared in the episode Playing in the Rain. The tune is based on the Christmas and New Year's Day song, I Saw 3 Ships. The lion and the bear features 2 characters, the scary lion with big scary teeth and the bear with brown fuzzy hair. The 2 characters are both made out of wood and travel using the appearance of a skateboard and are not animated. It was the only magical event, other than the dancing bear, to feature the clips with the Teletubbies more than any other event. The original sketch was first aired in 1997 in the episode Seesaw. However, the sketch became controversial due to its scary and inappropriate appearance and nature for children. The problems were the uncanny appearances of the characters, which are made of wood and have uncanny eyes, ears, and arms, and also appear to move on their own. The scary voices, scary scenes, music, and the dialogue such as I'm the bear, and I'm coming, in a haunting voice. Little Bo Peep is the most rarely seen. It features Little Bo Peep, a shepherdess with a very posh accent, and her sheep with very thick Cockney accents. The event was the last one made, as the other 6 magical events were shown in the first 11 episodes of Teletubbies, while this magical event wasn't shown until the 245th episode, which aired when Teletubbies was at its halfway mark. This is the longest magic event, and unlike other magical events, this one uses stop-motion animation instead of computer-generated animation. The sketch starts with the magic windmill spinning. The Teletubbies then arrive silently at the magic event place in Teletubbyland while the windmill is still heard spinning. The sun baby starts to giggle. This event is very different from other events. as there is no sound indicating what is about to happen. Instead, the Teletubbies look around and see 8 clouds in the sky, floating to the right while the Teletubbies cloud tune plays. There is then a quick close-up of the clouds. The Teletubbies giggle quietly as they follow the clouds. After another close-up of the clouds, the Teletubbies then sit down on a hill. A new piano tune plays, and in another close-up, the clouds float by and suddenly, sheep sounds are heard, and black heads and legs form in the clouds. The clouds then turn into sheep, and one small cloud turns into a white lamb. The 8 sheep float across the sky and then float and land on the ground, forming a line, with the biggest sheep at the top and the little lamb at the end. The excited Teletubbies then giggle and laugh after seeing the sheep land. The sheep begin to explore Teletubbyland with the little lamb slowly following behind. Then a voice in the middle of nowhere says, oh, where are my sheep?" Little Bo Peep comes floating down from the sky and lands into Teletubbyland. She says, "Hello," and starts to sing about how she's lost her sheep and doesn't know where to find them. So she searches for her sheep around Teletubbyland. The sheep also sing too. The little lamb follows behind and starts blowing raspberries over the hills. The sheep hide behind some hills as Little Bo Peep looks around. After a while, the sheep came back to Little Bo Peep. Then she sings about how she's found her sheep. Little Bo Peep says bye-bye and floats back up into the sky with the sheep and little lamb following behind. Once they've completely disappeared, the windmill stops spinning, the sun baby giggles, or the voice trumpet rises for Tubby Bye-Bye.
Holy shit. Holy shit. Anon cracked the code. In the old days of this site, this would be at the top of the catalog. Nowadays, the profane will look at it with a fluoride stare and say, "Schizo, take your meds," because they cannot comprehend the scale of the knowledge you've dropped. They haven't even acquired basic awareness of the nature of the society they exist in, let alone the layers of mental pitfalls and deceptions. You're preaching to a crowd of boneheads, but I thank you for this. You've illuminated something I had found on the nature of root races when asking about Atlantis on here. Where can I find out more?
I recommend watching the entire Hour of the Time catalog by Bill Cooper, whereby the nature of the mystery schools and the Lemurian stories' basis within them are fully disclosed.
Thank you. I've been meaning to check out Behold a Pale Horse, so I guess now I have to read them.
I would recommend listening to the Hour of the Time broadcasts before reading it. Bill Cooper encountered furthermore evidence during that period, particularly after the information gathering he organized by gathering people to research alongside him worldwide.
In the years since I stopped watching television, I've never forgotten the Teletubbies. Something there hung with me, a foreboding, something that the digitally enhanced colors, lilty childlike music, and fluffy, impish dancing couldn't wipe away. Something dark, darker than most expect. And no, I'm not haunted by the alleged agenda of the show. I don't care that a bunch of folks feel threatened by some puffy dancing TV people. No, it was something else that I couldn't put my finger on. What was it that resonated so deep in the core of me about Tinky, Winky, Dipsy, Lala, and Poe? I woke one night in a sweat. The revelation came to me and it shook me to my marrow. It's so much more complex than any child can grasp. So thick is the subtext that it could be misinterpreted or missed completely by the adults that are watching. Maybe those that feared the agenda only had it partly right. The Teletubbies is a dark Orwellian nightmare about a genetically engineered slave class being systematically trained to become part of our society. In order for you to see what I mean, you need to TiVo or tape an episode. Just check the listings of your local PBS station. Just watch one, and you will see exactly what I am talking about. Then perhaps the words that follow and the evidence I provide will resonate within you as they do in me. While no backstory has ever been provided on the show about where the Tubbies are, or even where they come from, one thing is clear. They are not in control of their own destiny. 3 things control their day-to-day lives. First, there is the voice, a tiny female voice that tells them when to eat, when to sleep, and when to say goodbye. The robotic maternal voice blasts from a speaker implanted in the ground, hinting that something larger lies underneath and is constantly vigilant. The second is Nu, a harmless-looking anthropomorphic vacuum cleaner who wanders after them, cleaning up their messes and passively scolding them for bad decisions. Nu is the watchdog, the controlling tool of the powers that have placed the Tubbies here. The third in the triumvirate is the iconic, menacing pinwheel. The pinwheel is the true power in Tubby land, a mystical godhead that the simple-minded Tubbies worship. When the pinwheel spins, the Tubbies stop whatever they are doing and run to the top of a hill. Here they perform a ritual for the gods in the sky, trying to curry favor. They gestate and roll around like puppies having their bellies rubbed, trying to win the ultimate prize. And only one is favored. Only one can be chosen. When that one is chosen, they are blessed by having the genetically implanted bioelectric television screen in their abdomen activated. The Tubby is rewarded, not only by being the pinwheel's messenger to the other Tubbies, a mouthpiece if you will, but also apparently by a physical joy at the activation of the screen. And what does the screen show? It shows an indoctrination film. Here is the world of man and one of its customs. Learn, for you will soon join us, live among us, and serve us. A message from the pinwheel god. I call it Revnoku, just because it sounds cool. When the ritual of the indoctrination is done, the Tubbies return to their day, childlike and innocent. Finally, watching over it all is the Sun Baby. The innocent, benevolent soul of humankind hangs over it all, illuminating Tubbyland. You see, we are guiltless in this. We have chosen for ourselves the form of a child, an infant. What could be more guilt-free and benevolent than a cooing baby? It is a form that the childlike Tubbies will understand and not fear, a form used to hide the watchful, totalitarian eyes that peer out from the darkness. The powers that control Tubbyland have made it beautiful, green and colorful, temperature-controlled. I have not determined yet if it is an island or another planet. I lean toward the planet because their underground bunker they live in seems to resemble some sort of buried spacecraft. Wherever they are cut off from outside influence. Anyone who has ever watched The Prisoner can make the connection quickly. Like the Eloi from The Time Machine, they are kept simple, stupid, sated, and enslaved in a place of vibrant beauty. Lambs to the slaughter, the better to devour you with, my dear. I beg you to watch and decide for yourself. It's all there on the screen, and finally, for me, all the pieces fit. Children enjoy it as they should for the colors and the nonsense. For adults, it should be a chilling warning of times to come. It is a morality tale about the potential dangers of cloning and genetic manipulation abuse by those who think themselves benevolent. The Tubbies are alerting us to a future where genetically crafted worker beings with entertainment centers built into them will serve us. Slaves who will stumble and babble their way through our world, pleasing us. For we are Revnoku. We are the soulless, immoral god of their world. We demand their obedience. We demand that they perform and dance and work for us. Teletubbies is simply a warning about the encroaching darkness, the decay of the human spirit as it ages, fat, bloated, and destroying not only the natural world, but the world we create in our likeness. Teletubbies is about the end of the world.
I hope that you enjoyed tonight's broadcast. If you enjoyed tonight's story, then please subscribe to the channel as more green texts will appear daily. A new broadcast will appear when the clock strikes midnight Central Time.
Remember to check out the Odyssey page in the description for a second archive of the channel's videos.
There's also a Rumble archive as a backup.